Hello everyone. I hope you can hear me. I had some trouble to connect, but can you hear me well? Okay, great. Thank you, Brenda. I was not sure. It's my first time using OBS, and I'm really not good with like technology. Even if I do work in technology, so I'm really sorry for that. Thank you for bearing with me in this awkward time. Thank you for your patience. I've been trying to setting everything up, but I think we're good. You can hear me now. Hi everyone. Hi. It's my first streaming experience. I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy Women Animation invited me for this session. I hope I'll be able to help you out. So basically, we're gonna start with just me explaining who I am first, because some of you might know me, some of you might not know me, which makes more sense actually. And then we're gonna go through together the kind of like idea of a recruitment process, at least in my point of view, if that makes sense. And then some of you were kind enough to share their resume as examples, so we could just kind of have an idea what we should do with the resume, like how to build a resume. So thank you for that. Thank you. I know, it's really brave of you for doing that, like that you share your resume on screen, and that's really helpful for everyone. So thank you for that. Um, and yeah, we're gonna end with like a Q&A session, so you can ask all your questions as well. And of course, you will be able to connect with me on LinkedIn if you want. Feel free to do it. You will have my name in a second on the screen, so you should be able to just connect with me. But yeah, first I just wanted to kind of like you to see kind of like my face. So it should be my face. So again, bear with me as it's my first time with UBS. So hopefully this is me. So hopefully you can see me. So I'm Margot. I'm recruiter at Framestore. I've been working at Framestore for 4 years now. Before that, I was working at MPC. And before that, I was working in the IT industry. So that would be less interesting for you. But I've been working in the VFX kind of like field since like, I would say maybe something around, 5 years now, basically. And I've been recruiting for many different departments. I've been recruiting for animation, lighting, what else? Environment, DMP. I started back actually with environment DMP back at MPC when they gave me my chance 5 years ago. But yeah, I've been working for many different kind of like departments. So I have an idea pretty much of a lot of departments. My partner is also a comp artist, so obviously I know a bit about comp. And a lot of my friends will be in the industry, so that's why I know a bit more about that. But I've been recruiting in total for 6 years now, because I was, like I was saying, in IT before. So that's me. I'm French. Maybe you can hear that with my accent, but I've been living in Montreal for the past 5 years already. Time flies. And yeah, that's about me. So nice to meet you all. And again, thank you for being here. So first, I just wanted to talk about basically so the recruitment process. I guess you all went through at some point a recruitment process. That would make sense. So here we go. So I guess you all kind of like again went to a recruitment process before, and I mean the idea is to give you a better again idea of how it should be. Like I have some steps in mind. Of course, you will have for different companies, different type of kind of like, oh yeah, it's live now. Sorry about the delay. So as you can see, recruitment process steps. So basically, you will have many different type of like process. Of course, depending on the companies you will kind of like apply to, but you should kind of like find the same kind of like idea of process. So obviously, first you're gonna see a role that you're interested in, right? You're gonna see a role on the website or on LinkedIn or somewhere else. And the idea is that you want to apply, you want to make sure that makes sense. So first you're going to have a resume, obviously. So we're going to, and as I was saying, like we're going to go through resumes together so you can have examples. So I'm not going to talk too much about that now because we're going to do that right after. But the idea for you is to know like the tip and tricks about the resume, but you're going to apply with the resume. You're going to also apply with your reel or an ArtStation or both of it. Make sure that those are, of course, updated. Make sure that the links are working. Like sometimes we do receive application where the links are not working. And just so you know, when we have a lot of like application, basically we want to make sure that we can see your reel like real fast. Basically, if you think about it, like a recruiter will take approximately like 2 minutes to take a look at your application. That's not a lot, but it's also because usually we don't have that much time, and sometimes we receive like 100 of applications, so we can't go through all of them like 5 minutes. You know, we have to go fast. So basically, our eyes are supposed to be trained in a way that we'll be able to see real fast if like it's working out for us, and we'll still be able to read your resume really fast. But just so you know, it's really important for you to check if like your links are working. So yeah, please do that. So you're gonna have your reel, and then you're gonna have a cover letter, which is really important. I know that some people, yeah, Lenny, 2 minutes like a lot. Yeah, maybe it's less actually. Maybe it's less. Maybe it's in my mind. I'm trying to have 2 minutes, but when I say 2 minutes, it's not even about a resume. It could be also about your application in general, because you will reply to some question, right? Like, where are you living, and you know, what is this and what is this. So basically all of that will take a couple of minutes, but yeah, you're right, it can be long. Sometimes it's shorter than that for sure. But yeah, so basically you will have also a part with a cover letter, and I know a lot of people ask me, is that something I should have? So I'm going to tell you my opinion and then other people's opinion so you can have an idea. For me, cover letter is not that important because I feel like, I don't know. Cover letter for me, it's like a way for you to be like, hey, why you should, you know, like hire me. And I think a recruitment process, and I'm going to say that maybe a lot in this session, but for me, it's not just about you like trying to tell a company that they want to hire you. It's also about the company to kind of like have the same with you, right? It's a two-way kind of like relationship. You want to make sure that you're choosing the right company as well. So I feel like the cover letter is more about you being like, oh, you should hire me. I'm great, but then we don't have to do that as companies. I don't know if you know what I mean. So for me, it's not that important if there's no cover letter, but like the candidate, it's still kind of like fitting with what I'm looking for. I'm gonna go through the application. But just so you know, I've heard from colleagues of mine in the industry that if there's no cover letter, they won't even open the application. So yeah, you don't want to lose like the opportunity just because you didn't do a cover letter. So I feel like you should do a cover letter. So it's really simple. It's more about explaining how you feel that the company you're applying to will, I guess, that also you're gonna, I mean, obviously you're gonna like be a plus for them. Like, okay, so I'm coming, you know, I'm applying to this role because I feel like I could be a great fit because of this, because of my experience, because of the skill set I have. But also, you want to be clear in that cover letter that also the company can give you something in return. Like, and I feel like your company, because you worked on that movie that I really like, because you worked on that software that I think I want to learn, like, it's also an idea for you to be able to be like, what can you give me as well? You know, again, it's a two ways relationship. So you want to make sure in the cover letter that you're also saying, I'm applying because I feel like I can learn from you as well. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So cover letter, really important. You can keep it short and sweet. You don't have to do like a full letter, but I suggest you do one just to make sure. And then you also have LinkedIn, obviously, and I've seen a lot of LinkedIn in resume as well, and it's a good thing. So basically, when you apply, make sure that you have your LinkedIn somewhere, and they're gonna ask you for it, just so you know. But you want your LinkedIn to be updated, to be clean, that everything is like updated. Even if you're a student, like maybe there's some students here. I'm just reading the comments at the same time. So even if you're a student and you don't have a professional experience, it's important to have LinkedIn anyway, because that's really a point of contact. I feel like now I'm reaching out to people, even when people apply, I would say 80% of the time I'm using LinkedIn. I think it's faster, the chat is easier to talk to. Sometimes I'm going to use the email, but for the like being like, hey, how are you? I want, to meet you. Like, I'm going to mostly use LinkedIn. So it's really important you have one, even if you don't have an experience yet. So updated with like the diploma you are doing, updated with any experience, and we're going to talk again about that a bit later with the resume. But you also have some experiences outside of what you want to do that could be interesting in terms of soft skills. Let's say myself, if I take myself, like I'm a recruiter, obviously, but before I was recruiting, I was a student and I was working part-time in a shop. And so that experience gave me like soft skills of like communication, just, talking with like the clients, talking with this, and handling, the money, handling, the fact that I had to open the shop, close the shop. So it's kind of like responsibility I had. And that's something that could show like I have an idea of what is working, basically, even if it's not exactly what I'm supposed to do. So it could be a plus. And I actually, in some of the resume that I received, there's kind of those experiences. So it's a good example also for me to show you a bit later. But yeah, have a LinkedIn always. It's really important for you to have this. And then Julia, you were saying I always feel a bit intimidated about including it, sometimes even embarrassed when I don't. I guess you mean about the cover letter. I get it, because yeah, it's like super weird, right? It's a letter from almost from the heart to the company, and it's a lot. So I feel like, again, you should think about it like, okay, it's just a way for you to introduce yourself a bit more that you get to do on a resume. And also to be like, I feel like we could, like, this could work out because, again, I can, this is the expertise I have for you, and this is, the thing you have for me that I'm interested in. So you really have to think about it like in two ways. Great, perfect, Julia. But I get it. But I think it's, as I was saying, like when some colleagues told me that they don't even open sometimes the application because of that, I was like, oh my God, like I should have a cover letter. And just so fun fact, I don't know if it's fun, at least you will see that it can happen to anyone. When I applied to Framestore, back at the time I was working at MPC, I was applying to other studios as well at the same time. And I actually had the wrong studio in my cover letter. So I applied to Framestore saying, hey, Rodeo, I want to work for you. And I didn't realize until maybe 2 years after I started at Framestore, my manager in a meeting talked about this candidate who did the same thing. And I was like laughing, and it was like, oh, you laughing? That's funny because that's what you did 2 years ago. So anyway, just that can happen to anyone, and that happened to me. So, and it is my job. So as you can see, but yeah, try to keep it short and sweet. You don't want to, again, you don't want to be too much. It's just for you, since you don't have a lot of space on the resume to introduce yourself, it could be a good idea just introducing yourself, right? The cover letter. So yes, I was talking about the application. So resume, having a reel, having the cover letter, having LinkedIn. So that's the application part. And then once you applied, you're going to have someone like me who will reach out to you and be like, hey, I'm interested in meeting you. So usually in a recruitment process, most of the studios, they will have recruiters to do a first kind of like call with you, or video meeting or G meeting, or like even sometimes an in-house, if they can have, interview in-house, that's the best. I mean, no, yeah, Lenny, it's not apparently, because yeah, they took me anyway, but I think it could be. So yeah, just double check just to make sure. So yeah, basically, if they can, like, they will have an interview in-house. And the idea of this first interview is just you and the recruiter, and it's just kind of like for them, I mean, for us, if I take us as a company, to just know a bit more about you. Kind of like also, I don't like the term personality because everyone has his own personality, but I feel like check your attitude, if that makes sense. Make sure that you have a professional attitude, that you communicate correctly. Like it's kind of a first kind of like meeting just to see if it could fit in terms of attitudes again. The personality, everyone has one, and I don't like when companies are like, I don't take people depending on personality. It's just in terms of, again, attitude, and like, okay, I need someone in my team. We do know our teams. We do know some of our teams will be like this, so we know how the fit should go with the team, if that makes sense. So that's the idea of the first kind of like interview with the recruiter. It's more a check vibe, if that makes sense. But it's also a check vibe for you, right? Because again, it's a two ways process. So it's also an occasion for you to challenge the company, to ask questions, to I love when people ask me questions about how I feel at Framestore. Like, okay, it's been 4 years you're working here. How do you feel about Framestore, the environment? How do you deal with overtime? Like challenging questions for us. It's a good thing. It means that you're really interested also in us, but that also you want to challenge us, because again, it's also you that is going to choose us eventually. So it's important for you to kind of like, challenge us, and you're going to have to present yourself, obviously. So present yourself is like your CV, but like real time. So you want to explain like what you did, your past experiences, your education. Usually what I'm trying to do is just to be like asking questions. So usually the way I do at least the pre-screen, what we call pre-screen is the first call with the recruiter. The way I like to do it is to be like, okay, hi. So can you tell me a bit more about yourself, like your past experiences? And if I have any questions or if I need more details, I will, feel comfortable about asking them. So you should have someone in front of you who also going to give you like kind of an idea of how the interview will go. And that's the same thing with the next interview you might have, which is going to be usually more technical. Like after the first pre-screen with the recruiter, you're going to have an interview with someone technical, either someone from the team, a lead, a supervisor, a head of departments, either someone from the project. So it could be the VFX supervisor, it could be, someone from prod, like you will have someone more technical. And same thing, like the recruiter should be here. The recruiter should tell you, okay, this is how it's going to work out. Like a good recruiter, in my opinion, should be someone who really going to give you all the details about how it's going to happen. So and you're not stressed out, right? I would say that usually the pre-screen with the recruiter would be like 15 to 30 minutes, shouldn't be that long. The next interview, though, should be longer with the technical person, because we're going to do the same thing that what we did in the pre-screen, but we're going to add maybe, we're going to take a look at your reel, at your work. We're going to have more technical questions. So yeah, the idea is, again, is also for you to have the most info. So we're going to present the company, but maybe in the technical interview, the person from the team will give you more details about the team, about how they work in the team. So that's how it's going to be different between the two kind of like calls you're going to have. And then if the interview goes well, you will have the salary offer, which is again usually handled by the recruiter. So obviously during the kind of like call with the recruiter, they will also ask about your your range in terms of salary expectation. And then it's like the contract and everything, right? All the kind of like next steps. There's going to be a lot of emails with a recruiter, just, negotiating, asking questions, that kind of thing. And if ever, after your application, for some reason, you're not the right fit, well, you should have a return from the recruiter. I learned that I think it's like 80% of the cases, people who apply don't get any return to their application, which I think is really bad. I think we should be better at this, and I'm sorry from all the recruiters on earth about that, because I feel like we should be able to give feedback. Sometimes, yes, we'll use, generic feedback, so like something like, sorry, your candidature wasn't a good fit, but I think that you should, when you receive that type of email, you should ask for a detailed feedback. That's okay. I often receive those emails. Like, for example, someone is not fitting. I'm going to use a generic feedback because I don't have time, if I had a lot of application, to just give personal feedback. But I love when people ask me that, so I can just get back to them and give them a personal feedback, So feel free to do that. Always remember, and I'm coming back on what Lani was saying about how intimidating it could be. We're humans. okay? Like recruiters are human, so you should be in front of a human, and so people who deal with, so it's okay if you ask questions, it's okay if there's no, yeah, again, think about human to human. So I know that same when we talk about a salary, usually people will tell me, but if I say a salary that is way, out of their banding, when again, like you could be able to be like, oh, I'm able to negotiate, and you're in front of a human. So yeah, let's keep it human, if that makes sense. So no stress, like you can always get back on what you were saying, change the information, change that kind of thing, just so you know. That makes sense. So that's kind of the process. And then if you accept the salary, then you'll have the contract, then you sign the contract, then you start. That's kind of the recruitment process. Now, if we want to focus on the resume, and maybe we could start with a few, like if you have any questions about maybe the recruitment process before we go to in details into like the resume. Talking about not having feedback, some we don't reach it. Yeah. Oh, that's a good question, Leah. So I feel like, I'm not sure what you mean. Like you mean, I'm just trying to understand your question. Like you mean, why are you not selected for an interview? Or like something you could have said like in the form? Like usually, let's say if there's a questions in the form, like let's say the form would be like, are you free this date? If you're not free this date, if you say no to a question in the form, let's say that might be a no-go then. Like the Smart Recruiter, for example. Yeah, it could be because, for example, if you say that, I don't know, for example, just and that's a good maybe a tip to know, like to be able to do a work permit in Canada, you need to make sure that you have a 6 months contract. That's like the law. That's like the Canadian law. That's like how they do things. So basically, right now, when we have shorter contracts to offer, we can't do work permit. So when you will see a question about, are you able to work in Canada? Are you eligible to work in Canada? Maybe that means that the company can't do work permits, and if you say no, I'm not eligible, there's a huge chance that it's not working out. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but basically there's a question, yes, no, and you say no, there's a huge chance that that's not going to work out, because because practically they're asking the question because they want to make sure this person is either free at that date, either doesn't need a work permit, either, if we ask the question, it's just to filter. So if you say no to a question, even when you apply, you could be like, oh, if they're asking me this might be because they need someone who doesn't need a work permit, for example. So yeah, basically you could be, so what extent that could be, yeah, basically. Also, I'm thinking about that question as well. If they say, do you have 5 years of experience in this? If you don't have them, like maybe the question is here to filter and see who has 5 years of experience, if that makes sense. So yeah, anytime you say no to a question, that might be then a no. And that might not be the right fit for the role, if that makes sense. I don't know if that answers your questions. Also, if you have any other questions about the recruitment process in general before we go through the resume. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, I don't think there's other questions for now. Okay, so I'm gonna just go and share like the resume we received. So I think we received like maybe 10, something like that. So what I'm gonna do is I took a look at them already, so I'm just gonna share the screen. Thank you again for the person, I guess, that they are here, but thank you for them to give us example, because that's really the best way for everyone actually to have tips and tricks about resume. So I'm just going to share the resumes, and I'm just going to kind of like say what I think should be like kind of like different, or like what thing you should improve on the resume. So let me just change the screen. Yep, so that's going to be me. Whoop. All right, so I should be able to do this. this, and then we're going to start with Brenda. So again, thank you, Brenda, for sharing with us. So I took some notes over here. Let me just check them out. All right, so I think the first thing that came to my mind when oh, you're gonna see it in a second. I'm sorry, I feel like my connection is the worst. Sorry about that. So you're gonna see Brenda's resume in a second. Yeah, you can see it now. So I feel like the first thing, basically when you do a resume, you have to think like, okay, the recruiter is gonna have, let's say, 30 seconds to take a look at it. 1 minute maybe if they have time. So basically you want to answer in advance to their questions. Let me explain what I'm saying. You want to make sure that I don't have too many questions about your resume. You want to answer to me without even talking to me. So you will understand what I'm saying, which I think is pretty like not clear right now. But basically, you want to make sure that I don't have a lot of questions when I read your resume. The more question I have, I'm just reading the comments. Sorry. No worries at all, Tom. It's okay. I'm just going to answer before I go through the resume. So another question. So your thought on salary ranges, that is something the recruitment team filter and could end up being a no-go. I would say it depends. Like usually I suggest when you put like kind of like a salary range to always put negotiable if you can. So usually you can type and you can just be like negotiable. It could, like, if it's really like really out, it could be one of the reason people are rejected. That being said, if you kind of like, if you fit with all the other aspect of the role, then I will reach out to that person and just see if it's negotiable, if that makes sense. So it shouldn't be the only thing, you know, not fitting if you get a rejection. So it should be part of it. Like, let's say, oh, you don't have 5 years and also your salary is too expensive, I might say no. But then if you have everything we need, but this is just about the salary, and just salary is important, hear me out. We all need to pay our bills. But what I mean by just, it's like, if this is the only reason, that maybe I will just check with that person and be like, hey, we're really interested in your profile. The only thing is that, to be honest with you, our bandings are a bit lower than, you know, what you're expecting. Are you able to negotiate? Or just so you know, so the law, I think maybe 6 months ago, now in the US, and I think in Vancouver as well, you have to put the banding for, like every time you open a role on a website, you have to put the banding. It's like part of the law now. So when you apply to the US, or I think it's also the case in Vancouver, now you have to have the banding. So basically, if you apply to a role, you should see in the job description 50,000 to 70,000. So that's not the law yet in Montreal, in Quebec at least. So not Montreal, but in Quebec, but it should be soon. Because basically the idea is for all Canada to do the same thing, to have the same law. So just so you know, soon you will have access actually to the salaries, which is not the case today, but we should have it soon in Quebec. And for me, that would be way easier, because people, once you see like exactly the banding, it's easier to just apply if you think that it will fit for you as well. No, yeah, I think like a lot of people think that IA is actually reviewing the application, which makes sense. Oh, banding, yeah, Lenny, so sorry about that. So banding basically is a kind of like, so basically it's the salaries we have. So each studio have banding. So a banding will be like, okay, for each department, for a junior role, I know I can go from this salary to this salary. For a mid role, I know I could go to this salary. So basically it's like a database with like all the salaries we can offer, if that makes sense. Like the range of salaries we can offer depending on the level, depending on the department, so it's different for each studio. And yet Tom, I was saying that usually I think people think a lot that IA or like an algorithm is like going through the application. Actually, no. We go through application, I mean, at least until now. I know that IA and some companies are starting to use IA. That's not the case at Framestore. I think in the industry, it wouldn't be the case because it's difficult for IA to review a reel. But no, we go through like manually, basically every application, just so you know. So sometimes, of course, when you have so many, you can make a mistake. It happens to me that I thought that someone didn't have, I don't know, something I needed, and then they told me, oh, actually, I do. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, because it's manual, actually, like sometimes it's just, it's a mixed. But just so you know, yeah, so arrange, exactly, arrange. Comme une fourchette, exactly. And so yeah, basically, we don't use an algorithm. Like usually we go through manually all the application. So yeah, it's not like if you say no, you're gonna be rejected by an algorithm. It's just on our side, we're just gonna see that you're saying no. So yeah, no, not for now. At least not at Framestore. I do know that right now when you apply, some of my friends told me that some companies right now are using it, but when you apply, they will ask you, like they will ask you, are you okay that IA will review your resume? So they should be asking you. You have to know if it's a robot or not, basically. But if they're not asking, that it's people like me, just so you know. So going through Brenda's resume. Yeah, so first, before we start with Brenda in particular, I would say that, like I was saying, you want to make sure that your resume, you want to make sure that I don't have a lot of, when I'm reading it and when anyone is reading it, we don't have questions for you. So it should be super clear, it should be super precise. So I'm going to go through with you like what is clear, what is precise from a recruitment point of view. But first, talking about Brenda, I would say that the first thing that came up to my mind is I don't know what you want to do. Like I can see your name. Can you see my? I'm not sure you can see my mouth, but anyway, like I can see your name, but I can't see what you want to do. Like there's no title. There's no. So your title should be either what you're doing. So if you're, for example, lighting artist, you could put lighting artist under your name right before experience, or it could be something you want to do. So if you were a lighting artist, but now you want to be, I don't know, a surface artist or a texture artist, then you could put texture artist. That's okay. It's just for me to know what does she want to do, you know, what else they want to do. But yeah, good thing is like, and I'm just going to say good things every time, but just having the LinkedIn is really important. Again, it's the first point of contact, as well as your email, because we can use that, and your number if you're comfortable to be called by companies. But yeah, what did I say else? So yeah, so the title is important. Okay, we can't see your mouth. Well, sorry about that. I'm just going to try and explain exactly when I'm showing up with my mouth. And so yeah, I was saying, so the title, and then I feel like also your portfolio, I can't really see it. Like it's important for me to be able to see with, I would say, like the LinkedIn and like the contact, I would really emphasize the portfolio or the demo reel. Like I can see it like after education, but I feel like it should be even more emphasized. Like you should see it right away, basically. So I would suggest to just put portfolio before education, like right under the email, if that makes sense. It's annoying you can't see my things, my point of work. It's okay. Again, if you want to connect with me after, and if you have any question and something wasn't clear, you can do it, obviously. But yeah, I would put the portfolio really right at the beginning. Really important, I feel like. In terms of experiences, it was really it's really detailed, which I really like. You have a lot of like details about what they did exactly. There's a lot of details about what they did exactly, so that's really interesting. I would say, and I know I'm going to say that a lot because I actually took some notes, and that was, most of them didn't have that. In Canada, at least, in France it's actually different, but in Canada at least, they really like numbers, if that makes sense. So they really like when you say, let's take something on the resume. So like design pitches, portfolio presentation, asset templates, how many pitches? Like having an idea. Like in Canada, they like to have an idea of like how many things, how many shows, how many people in your team. Like they like to have a number. So it could be good every time you're putting a sentence like that to add a number. Approximately, I worked on, let's say, that numbers of like projects. Approximately in my team were like, and that's really interesting. Like in the first experience creative director, when Brenda had it, increased social media by 54%. Like that's a number that's really like something you can relate to, if that makes sense. So numbers are really important. I suggest that every time you can add a number, do it. It's really important. And in Canada, it's really something that stands out. It's also cultural, right? A CV, like we didn't talk about that, but it's also cultural. Like you will have many differences. In France, we love phrases, like big phrases without like big suggestion phrases, let's say sentences, where we don't really get what you did. In Canada, we really like facts and numbers and like exactly what you did. So would you recommend adding numbers on each job listed? You could. I mean, again, it should be interesting numbers, right? You don't want to put too much of them, but like every time you have something like, I don't know, I'm trying to also take something from Brenda's resume. Yeah, like complex, like if we go with like the MPC experience, it's like produce high quality CG lighting, using real-world expertise in lighting and render complex shots. How many shots? Is that 500? Is that 100? It's really different, you know. Again, it could be an idea of it, but just, again, like a range. But don't put too much. Just, again, like when you read your resume, if you think like, oh, it could be interesting to just details how many, then you could add. That makes sense. But that could be in every experience. Yes, I feel comfortable with that. Then, still with Brenda's resume, and that's something also I will say a lot with other resume. That's something that stand out in not just Brenda's, but a lot of resume. In the software skills, I think it's important for us, at least recruiters, to just understand the level you have in each. So I guess that maybe Brenda, the way she listed it, like the software, maybe she listed it with the one she knows they know better first. But I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that they feel better with Katana or Maya. So it could be just interesting to just rank them. You could find many ways. It could be like 5, bubbles, and you just decide from 1 to 5 the level you think you have on each softwares. You could list them, just being like from 1 to 10, the one I'm more comfortable with, the one I'm less comfortable. Could be a lot of different type of like level, kind of like way of like explain how you feel comfortable. But I feel like it's important. Again, that's a question I can ask you, during the call. But again, you don't want me to have too many questions, remember? So you want me to be like, okay, she's like 4 on 5 on Katana. Good to know, like she's really good on Katana. So you want me to have less questions, if that makes sense. So yeah, I would suggest if you can add some types of level on your software, that's a good thing, in my opinion. Same for the languages, and we'll see that some other resume, they actually add details, but just, okay, is it your native language? Is it, are you bilingual? Like just to understand, again, your level, that could be interesting to know. So yeah, just add that just to know exactly how you feel in each language. References, it's a good thing to add. Available upon request is really, good to have. So I feel like, despite the little details I was just talking about, I feel like this resume is pretty like clear. It's precise. We suggest usually to have 1 or 2 pages max. So that's a good kind of like 1 page is really good. It explains what they are doing, like what Brenda is doing. So I think, beside the little things I was saying, it's a really good one. So yeah, that was Brenda. Again, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat so I can see. Lani, is a QR code for the portfolio link is a good idea. Yeah, you could. I mean, you will see that some of the resume, you just have to click on like the icon, for example, for LinkedIn or for the Montreal. It's okay, as long as the link is working. Again, that's really important, because it happens a lot that I want to see like a reel and it's not working for some reason. Or also, don't forget your password. Because sometimes we do have access to a reel, but there's a password and it's not mentioned anywhere. And so again, we could reach out to you, we could do this, but if like there's someone else with the same profile as you, but we can see the reel, maybe I will take more time with that profile. That doesn't make sense. Sometimes we don't have time to just reach out to everyone for password and that kind of thing. So make sure that also, if you do have a password, which is okay, then just mention it somewhere, Either when you apply, usually you will have a section being like the real and then password. But if it's like on your resume, just find a way for us to know the password, if that makes sense. But it's okay to have a QR code. I don't really, I'm okay with everything as long as the link is working, basically. Well, happy to help, Brenda. All right, let's open Kim's resume now. Again, thank you again for sharing with us. So here, that's the difference, you can see, Brenda, again, there's no, I don't want to compare anything, just to, again, next example, but we can see over here that Kim, they want to be like 3D texture artists, or they are 3D texture artists. So just something like that, Brenda, like I was mentioning before, just like what you want to do. And then here we have a lot of coordinates. So if you want to put your address, you can. You don't have to, just so you know. So maybe something that you wanted to do, Kim, but you don't have to, just so you know, your personal address at least. But it's good to have, again, your phone, your email, our station, LinkedIn demo reel. Like everything is listed, it's clear. I have all the info. So yeah, it was really clear. The profile section is also really interesting. It's kind of a, I would say the profile section will be kind of like a short cover letter, if that makes sense. Just a way for you to introduce yourself. So let's say here, experienced 3D texture artist, strong sense of details, creating styles and realistic textures. It's really good. Just, hey, this is who I am. I don't know if you remember on LinkedIn, I have a small thing like that. Hi, I'm Margot. I'm a recruiter since blah, blah, blah. Like, just, hey, this is me. It gives more personality, I would say, to your resume. It's like, when I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, I feel like I know a bit better who Kim is, basically. So it could be a good section to add to your resume, I feel like. Usually it's called profile, and that's good. You could also just put that at the very beginning, but like putting profile is perfect. In my opinion, so I get that Kim, I feel like, is pretty junior. It's just experienced in that case wouldn't be the good, because basically if I see experienced and then I see that you, for now, don't have any experience in the industry, which makes sense. You actually are in a diploma right now as we speak. You just got your diploma. Well, I don't get it. I'm like, they're not experienced, because they don't have actually experience yet. So you could put 3D texture artist or even junior 3D texture artist. That's okay. Especially if we have other students listening to us right now. Basically, it's just, again, so it makes more sense, like don't put experiences if you're not, that's okay. Because I can see right after that, right now, you didn't have a chance to, experience actually industry. So I would just remove experience in that sense. And then I feel like this is clear. We see that you're currently, like, you just got your diploma, so that makes total sense. Experience, it's interesting that you put that, but I feel like if you had experiences, you should have a little details about them. Because again, like I was saying earlier when I was talking about when I had experiences myself in a shop, I still detailed what I was doing because, again, it's soft skills, right? Sorry, just drinking water. Like you could detail as the soft skills you learn. So I don't know, maybe at sushi shop you learn to communicate with people. You learn to deal with negotiation. Anything that you could have done, in terms of soft skills that are really important, you can add, in your experiences. So I feel like if you had an experience, you should have a small sentence about this experience, if that makes sense, every time. And then again, for tools and skills. So there's a lot over here, and I don't know which one Kim is the most good at. Let's say not good at, but like comfortable with at least. Like there's a lot of things. I'm like, ooh, is it Houdini? Is it Nuke? Is it matte painting, lighting? There's a lot of, and obviously that makes sense again because I guess you just went out of school and you're interested in many things, but yeah, it's important for us to know which ones you are the most comfortable on, just to make sure that if I'm looking for someone really, good in substance painter, then are you like 3-on-5, 2-on-5, 5-on-5? Again, I'm taking 5 just because this is usually what people do. They just take a number out of 5. But yeah, just for me to have an idea basically of your level, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think that was it. But I thought it was really clear and organized. And again, the section, like the profile section, I think is really good. It's a plus. Lenny was saying, what do you call a junior? Why are you not a junior anymore? Well, in that case, Kim just got a diploma, like their diploma. So I feel like they're really junior because they just got out of school. A junior, I would say, really depends, but a junior usually we say it could be from 0 to 3 years. So you could be a junior for some time, yeah, because usually that's what we say. Again, it depends for every department, it depends for what you did. You know, some companies, sometimes you will be able to actually be a mid sooner than other companies, but I would say it's like from 0 to 3 years of experience, you will be a junior, and then you can start and maybe be a mid, something like that. But in Kim's case, it's just they just finished school, so they don't have any experience in the industry yet, so they are junior in the fact that they've never had any experience for now, besides school, I mean. What would you replace the experience with? Would university project? Yes, definitely. For the last question, definitely, like a project could definitely work. If you don't have like professional experience for now, it could work, because when you do a project at school, you get to work with other people, so you have to, I don't know, you have to communicate, you have to sometimes deal with issues with, like, you know, issues with people. So it's a good thing to add, even if it's university projects, it's a good thing to add that. And you will see that, again, we'll see that in other example. I did see some example where people were adding their university projects, so we will see that right after. So I hope that helped Kim. Let's go with Diane now. So, Diane, I feel like it's a good, I mean, it's really like appealing, like, you know, with the color and everything. And again, the style, I didn't mention that also at the beginning, but the style, you could really go with what you like. It's really your preference. We don't have a preference with like the style of your resume. As long as it, you know, goes with what you like, it's okay. But that one is really colorful. It's really nice. But I would say that when, oh yeah, you get to see it now. It's just, there's a delay. I'm sorry about that. For that one, I would say it's just a lot of info. Like the first thing that came up to my mind is like, whoa, there's a lot of info here, which is not a bad thing, but it can't be not a good thing. Let me explain myself. If there's so many things, I'm like, okay, where should I start? So I think the about, I was saying about the profile section, about is the same thing. It's really good. I think, like I was saying with Kim's profile, it's really interesting to have kind of an idea of who you are, what you're interested in. So a quick kind of like sentence or sentences to explain what you want to do is really great. And then the contact section is also super clear. I get to see the email, LinkedIn, portfolio, like we were saying. I feel like where I'm like losing you a bit, Diane, is like there's a lot of infos on the rest, on the visual storytelling. And again, it's interesting, it's important to add details. Maybe it's too detailed, if that makes sense. Also, I feel like, again, it's only my opinion, but I feel like work experiences should be in the middle, and that visual and communication collaboration should be on the side. Like, I feel like on the main kind of like part of your resume, you should have your work experiences, which is the most important for us. Even if I do get that when you're saying visual storytelling and communication collaboration, you actually explain skill set to me. But I feel like it would make more sense to have them maybe mixed with like your work experiences. Either maybe had more details on each experiences you had and just put some of the things you're explaining in your skill set in that, or just putting the experience on the main part of your resume, if that makes sense. I feel like, because it's quite, I mean, if I take the time, I can have everything, but when I'm saying that, I know my first thought is like, whoa, that's a lot of info. And so that's not really clear. It's really the way you like did it as well as really creative. We don't get to see that often, to see like the skill set explained. It's just, I think you should lighten it up. That makes sense? Yeah, like have less info, if that makes sense. Maybe try a way to just shorten the explication, if that makes sense. Same like I was saying with the skill, the technical skills, the level. Like I would say that for every kind of like, I think every one of the resume I received, there's no level. So just again, find a way just to explain this is the level, this is the skill, that like the tools I'm more comfortable with, just to have again an idea for every tool. It's interesting to put that you're able to work in Canada. If you're able to work in Canada, it's good to mention it. If you need a work permit, you can mention it. You don't have to, but you can mention it. But I feel like if you're able to work in Canada, that's a good way to mention. You could just add like Diane did, like dual citizen. You could add that you're PR. You could add that you have an open work permit. You could just have a quick sentence somewhere in your resume just explaining that you can work in Canada, if that makes sense. Did I have anything else for Diane? I don't think so, because again, it's a good resume if we think about it. Like the two we've seen before, it's just I feel like it's a bit there's a lot of info. So it's just again for the recruiters to, when they open your resume, you want them to feel as comfortable with like going through it. And when I see that, I'm like, whoo, that's gonna take me a minute, which is okay. But if I don't have that minute, if today I receive 30 resume, I might be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go through that one later. So yeah, just so you know, that could happen. So I feel like just lighten a bit like the sentences and everything, and you should be good, if that makes sense. But again, and I love the drawing. It's really nice. So thank you for sharing, Diane. And then I think we have Leah. We're asking questions a bit earlier. So again, thank you, Leah. I'm just going to take my notes over here. Yeah. So I feel like it's a really good resume. Again, like it's clear, it's organized. I mean, yeah, I was talking about, like adding just a link that I could just click on. This is what Leah did. Like you could just click on, oh yeah, you get to see it now. You can just click on LinkedIn and demo on a website, which is perfect. You have, again, the email. I think maybe, no, you actually have the LinkedIn. No, sorry, don't mind me. And then about me, again, like I was saying, the profile section. Hi, I'm Leah. So again, I feel like, and this is also where she said that they have an open work permit and they are willing to relocate. So it's a good way also of like adding, if you don't know what to add in about me, if it's not about what you did or what you want to do, you could also be like, I have an open work permit. I'm open to relocate. It's really interesting. Like Leah said right away, I'm an office person. Like I'm okay to do hybrid or like in-house work. So yeah, this is a good example of what you could put in about me in the profile type of section. Again, the skills, that's interesting. So it's another way of like explaining your skills, and I feel like it's a good way of doing it, like saying, okay, I use Maya for this. Again, there's no level. I'm gonna be really annoying with that, I'm sorry. But again, if you can add like kind of like the ones you're the most comfortable, and again, maybe you thought your resume that way of like listing them in the rank. It's just, for me, it's not clear, so it's just, yeah, find a way to make it clearer. But I think it's really interesting also to do it that way, to just explain, okay, I use this, I use Maya for this, I use Photoshop for this, I use Substance Painter for this. Like it could be interesting to do that as well. I know I was talking to a comp artist last time, and I was saying that on the demo reel we should have always like the tools they are using, and he was like, well, in comp it's only Nuke. So, but I'm like, yeah, but it's okay. It's better to have too much of Nuke on your resume and on your demo reel than not having it. That makes sense. So yeah. So I think it's really good. And then professional experience. Again, like I was saying, numbers for diverse projects. It's at 5, it's at 10. Just again, having a range could be, a good thing for us. Did I take any other notes for Leah? Yeah. Oh yeah, I put that this part, like the volunteering part, you could put it after professional experience, but actually it makes sense with the way you kind of like build in terms of structure. It makes sense that it's over here. And it's interesting really to add that, because like I was saying, when you do things on the side, like on my resume, I did say that I think I said something like, when I'm not at my desk, you can find me at a Zumba class or like doing something else. I don't know, just talking about my life. It's a good thing, because just, gives like what you like to do as well, because you're a person. Beside the technical skills you have, you're a person. So it's good to have that. And also, we could have an idea again of soft skills, and soft skills are really important. We often think, especially in the industry, about hard skill, but I feel like soft skills are important to put yeah, to like, to know. So but yeah, I was just saying maybe after professional experience, but actually in terms of structure, it makes more sense to put them here. So yeah, you can maybe play with it, see how you can put it. But I mean, it's okay. Again, I'm being really picky right now. Okay, like again, all the resume that I received were great. It's just if I'm being really annoying right now with you, just to be the annoying recruiter. If that makes sense. But yeah, again, that's not like a prior things to do. Interesting to have or other experience like that. Is that because it's my current job, meaning I'm not? Yeah, no, like I was saying, it's interesting. Why? Because first, you're not doing nothing. So first, you're showing that you are actually working. I do know that sometimes it could be scary for a company to see that you were not working for a couple of times, that kind of thing. And like you were saying, exactly, it's still interesting for teamwork, communication skills, exactly. And just saying what you were doing. Like even if you're not working, like it's sometimes interesting. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm just gonna drink some water. All right. Sorry about that. So yeah, I was saying that even if you're not working, for example, or if you're training on a tool, you could do that when you're not working. I often say to people to add that, like training, like I was training myself, like really as an experience, because like kind of like a moment where you were not working in your resume could be scary for companies. So it's good to explain what you did, even if it's not related to 3D in your case, or if it's training, or if it's like freelance, or if it's like it's important to have less, to have an explanation of like, again, if I see that you were not, if for example you didn't have the barista experience on your resume, and I just saw, okay, so she finished in June 2024, and then March 2025. Okay, what did she do? In between. Again, it's a question for me, and you don't want me to have questions, remember? So basically you want me to be like, okay, she was a barista, cool. Like I mean, it's not like I don't know that the industry is like really weird right now, right? And so I have an idea that this might be the reason you couldn't actually do 3D related jobs. And so again, and that shows, like you were saying, customer services, like soft skills, like I was saying. So yeah, it's interesting to have it. Um, and yeah, I think that was the only thing. Or yeah, and I can't see. I think that's what I'm just checking. I'm not saying anything wrong. I can't see like the language section. So just if you're, I would say that you're French, because at least you were in France, because you have experience in France. So just if you speak French, that's good to know. And if you speak English, which I guess you are, because again it's in English, then you could just like put a language section being like native, and like I feel really comfortable. I feel like I mean, depending on the level you feel in English, for example, it could be great to have that with skills. Or for example, this right after volunteering, that could be a good thing to add on your resume, Leah. So yeah, thank you for that, Leah. Then we're gonna go with Katarina resume. Again, thank you for sharing. I'm just going to drink some water while the resume just pop on the live. Sorry, Leah. Ooh, what happened? So let's go back to you then. Why can't I see? Oh, I know why. Okay, let me just do this. Where are you? Yeah, you here. Ah, that's why. That's why it was not actually on my notes. I was like, okay. Okay, so I guess you will be able to see it in a minute. Hopefully. Yeah, perfect, great. So actually, no, yeah, sorry about that. There was the language on your resume, Leah. Sorry about that. And the education. Yeah, no, it was pretty good. Yeah, I was saying like 1 page is like ideal. 2 pages is okay. I was saying 2 pages is okay. More than that could be a bit much, but 2 pages is okay. Yeah, usually it's just when I'm talking with, it's just once you will have 20 years experience, you won't be able to put everything, right? So it's just at some point you need to make choices, but two pages is okay. I would say one is ideal, but sometimes you want to make sure that there's no. And when I was talking about, I'm just coming back to my notes. When I was talking about, for example, Diane resume, Diane, you could have your resume in 2 pages, which could help, for example, to just have less infos on 1 page, because sometimes 1 page is also a lot of infos on 1 page. So that's why it's easier to have it on 2 pages, but 2 pages is definitely okay. I would say 1 is, again, ideal, but 2 is definitely okay. And as you can see, oh, maybe I can do that. Oh yeah, I can do that. My God, I'm just discovering with you guys that I can actually use my mouth, but I think because of the connection that I do have, you can't see it. You can't see it moving, or it's really, really slow. Oh, maybe a bit. Okay, I'm gonna try. So we were talking about a project. Someone asked a question about a project earlier. For example, Leah added her project. So as you can see, the short films she worked on, she added them. So that's really, really interesting. Yep. So yeah, no, nothing to say about the languages. Actually, it was over here. All right. Let's go now to Katarina's. And I'm going to check now. Just if there's 2 pages, thankfully, like, let me know, because I have to check on another thing. And anyway, I think Katarina only has 1 though. All right, you can't see it. Yeah, you can see it now. Great. So again, thank you for sharing with us. So I feel like I'm going to say the opposite that I said to Diane, is that Katarina's might be a bit too light in terms of information, if I'm, again, really picky, really, really annoying. So I feel like, I mean, the structure is great. We have the contact section. We have everything we need. Remember, the mail, LinkedIn, our station. Great. Amazing. Languages, again, if you can put a level, well, we do know that Serbian is your mother tongue, but then the other one, you could just put a level. It could be, yeah, like I was saying, professional, bilingual, anyway, yeah, anything. And same for the software. If you could have a level, I think that'd be great. Education, great. I guess the only thing in experiences is that a bit more information would be great. So it's great to know what you did, like lighting, texture, like exactly what you did, but a bit more about the type of work you were working on. Yeah, I don't know, for Outpost, was it, like TV show? Was it advertising? At least the type of work you did, like a small sentence just to explain, could be great. And it's okay if it's like, I feel like maybe when you're just doing like the same kind of, and you're generalist, so that's different, Katarina, in your case. But when you're doing the same thing, example, you've been a lighting artist for like 10 years, you just do lighting basically. So it's pretty annoying to be like, lighting, scenes, I get it, but I feel like, yeah, just a sentence is better. So you could add, again, the type of work you did, how many people were in your team, if you did something, I don't know, something special in that company besides your work. Yeah, that could be interesting. What else? Yeah, I think that's the thing. Oh yeah, and the section we were talking about, especially since you do have the space, Katarina, in your case, the section could be interesting for you would be maybe the before the experience section, maybe to have a about me or a profile section. If you're comfortable with it, that could be great. Like, you do have the space, so that could be great. Again, like we were mentioning before, it's a plus in my opinion. So yeah, I would do that if I were you. So yeah, just had a bit more information, maybe a profile / about me at the beginning, level with the language skills, which I've been saying since the beginning. Sorry about that. And yeah, but beside that, really good. It's really, again, clear, precise. I have all the info I need. Maybe I just want to know more about the experiences, but beside that, I have all the info I need. So yeah, good job on that. All right, then we'll go with Sonia. So I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more resume, and then of course we'll have a Q&A, just so you know. Of course, Katarina. Thank you for sharing again. All right, you should be able to see Sonia's resume in a second. Yeah, perfect. All right. So Sonia. Yeah. So super clear. We can see the thing we're talking about, the name, then the title, then the contacts on the side, which are like maybe the only thing missing in your contact is your LinkedIn. I'm going to be really annoying about that, but LinkedIn is really, really, really important. So between your email and Montreal, you could just add your LinkedIn profile, the URL. I do have the demo reel portfolio right after, so that's perfect. So I'm just missing, again, the demo reel. There's an about me. We love about me. We talked about that. Then what else did I had it? Again, I'm going to be annoying, some numbers, like create, if we take the first experience, create end key animation for characters. How many characters? Is that 1, 2, 3, 10? Again, that could be a range. You don't have to specifically say how many, because maybe you don't remember, maybe it was not, as easy as that, but just to have an idea of exactly the range, of characters you worked on, for example, for us. It's interesting. Thank you, Sonia. Yeah, I thought it was, so thank you for confirming. So yeah, I'm not gonna forget that this time. So yeah, just a couple of numbers. Also, I feel like maybe it's, again, only me, and you, obviously I'm biased, and obviously since you only have one recruiter, you have just my way of thinking, if that makes sense. But I feel like I get it why you like separated both of like relevant experience and other creative experience. I feel like relevant though means that those are not relevant, which I don't think it's the case, because being a graphic designer is relevant in 3D. So I don't like the term relevant. Again, I'm being like annoying. But I would say, I would not say relevant. I would say 3D animation experience, for example. Like, like you were focusing on 3D animation and other creative experiences like graphic design, that kind of thing. But I don't like relevant, because this means that the other ones are not, and I don't think they are not. So yeah, I hope you know what I mean. I did put a note on that. Same as everyone else, the levels on the software could be useful, and that's why I'm going to charge actually the second page, because it's actually on the second page. Where are you? That's you. Yep, so we're going to do this. Also, it's a good example if you have certificate, you can add them. You're going to see the second page in a second. And I also like the way that you kind of like separated your art skill and soft skills. So can we see it in a second? Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about the delay. So yeah, we can see same. First one, we've seen like the level on the language that we like. So proficient, that's perfect. I guess there's no differences between all of them, but maybe one of them is your mother tongue. So if ever one of them is your native language, you can just specify. So yeah, it's a good example with Sonia about certificates. Maybe you have a certificates you took, so yeah, please add them. It's definitely a plus. And I like the way you, again, separated art skill and soft skills. It's a good way of putting it. So again, it's a good example for just everyone else to take a look at. It's a good way of like, yeah, present your art and soft skills. And yeah, like I was saying, for everyone else, the software, maybe use a level kind of like thing. I'm sorry, I feel like the more we go into resume, the more I'm just saying the same thing, but at least it gives you, I feel like it's interesting to see. I love to see like how other people are doing things, so it just gives me an idea of how I could improve mine, and like I think it's a good thing. Anyway, I hope it helps. So yeah, this is the only line I have, Sonia, like to kind of like change relevant, which I think, yeah, is not the right word in my opinion. And then yeah, all the other stuff I said. But thank you for sharing. Then we have a couple more that we received today. So next we have Julia. I think Julia is also a 2 pages resume, so I'm gonna make sure I share both of them. I guess that you hear me at the same time I speak, though. Like, I mean, the visual are not charging, but hopefully you hear me at the same time I speak. I hope. Okay, perfect. Yeah, we can see Julia's resume. So Julia, there's a like about me section which I really like. I guess the only thing, Julia, and maybe again it's maybe me, but it feels a bit weird to talk to use the third person. Everything is generally charging pretty fast. Okay, well, great. Thank you, Leah, for that. Maybe it's on my side. So, yeah, Julia, I think it's a bit weird to use the third person. Like, Julia began a creative journey, like, it's almost not you, talking about you. So I feel comfortable to say, hi, I began my creative journey as a visual artist. I did this. Like, feel free to just take, like, part of, your presentation, if that makes sense. I would say. It would sound better in my opinion if you do it that way. But yeah, really interesting to have like we were saying again and again about me. You don't even need a title. You see, like Julia doesn't have a title, and that works perfectly. Like you could just have your text right after your name. That's perfect. Then your portfolios, which is great. I think we're gonna see the LinkedIn on the other side with like the contact, which is okay as well. For me, it's better to have them on the first page, like right away, maybe under 3D Junior Animator. I can have your email and your LinkedIn to be right away be able to open it. I mean, because sometimes I'm not even, I mean, I will look at the resume, but sometimes if I open LinkedIn and LinkedIn is really detailed, I don't really have to look at the resume as well because the LinkedIn is so detailed, right? So sometimes I'll just open the LinkedIn first, if that makes sense. Skills are really are great because again, it's like the one we've seen before. Like it's like Sonia's resume. You get to see like kind of like the soft skills versus the art skill, which I think is really great. Again and again, the level on the skills could be interesting if you want to add that. And then I'm just gonna go on the other page. Whoop. Maybe this. Yep. Okay. And on the other page, we get to see so education, obviously. That's perfect. Then we have the experiences you had, Julia. I think it's really interesting because when we were talking about Sonia's and that the fact that Katarina, and that the fact that you could have some sentences really short like that are really great. 2D character animator at this, like you don't have to explain more than that. Like it gives me an idea of what you did. That could be a great example for you, Katarina, just to add some details. And then you have extra and fun, which is again the idea, but that's why I think like your email and your LinkedIn shouldn't be in extra and fun and should be at the beginning, like I was saying, because it's no extra. It's really important, so you should put them at the very beginning, if that makes sense, under your name. But it's really interesting to also have, like I was saying, if it's not something about you, something about a volunteer experience, it could be great to have like the blog you're mentioning, just to, again, your person, so you're more than your experiences and your education, right? You do things outside of work, so it's interesting. If you want to share at least them, it's interesting for us to see that, to know a bit more about you, if that makes sense. That's kind of the point also of a recruitment process, right? It's just to know a bit more about you as well. I think that was my only note. Yeah, email plus again in the first page. Level for tools, high is better. Yeah, like I was saying. Thank you, Julia. Then we have Eri. Do I pronounce that correctly, Eri? If Eri is here with us, I hope I do. Please tell me if I don't. I don't like when people don't say my name correctly, but it's French, so it's annoying to say it correctly. But yeah, please let me know if I don't pronounce it correctly, Eri. So Eri, let me just take my notes. One thing about you, how? Yeah. Yes, perfect, Eri. Thank you for that. So I think, Harry, the thing I just noticed right away is that maybe to add some more thing about you. Like I like the fact that you put like I'm a recruitment artist with a diploma, but the fact that you had 5 years of experience in IT and that you mentioned at the beginning, it'd be interesting just to have to extend on that, to be like how you think your IT experience can translate into Groom. So it could be really short. Let's say we take the thing you were saying. So I hold a bachelor's degree in computer science, have 5 years of experience in IT, which I think helped me on the technical side of Groom, whatever. Like I'm just saying something. I'm not a Groom artist, obviously. Just to kind of like rebounce on the experience in IT, on how this experience could be a plus for you in Groom, if that makes sense. Same thing again and again. Some numbers in here. We love numbers. If we talk about, again, created and sold, like the first experience, created and sold original Japanese calligraphy, illustration, 3D models, custom bias piece, how many, bias piece you worked on, for example. That could be interesting to know, again, you have one in the second one, but yeah, a couple of numbers, always good. Same thing with the skills. The level could be great, just a small thing about the level. I don't think, let me just check out. I'm just rereading them because I've seen them earlier, but yeah, we do have, like we were saying, we love that. The name, the title, the contacts, everything is over there, like at the very beginning. I like that. Trying to think. I think there's no languages section, so you could add one definitely in the additional skills. Yeah, that could be a plus. Even if you just speak English, just say I speak English, basically. It's interesting for us to know. So yeah, I would add a language section for sure. But beside that, I think, again, very clear. Again, all the resume I received were good. I'm just, like adding more stuff and like tips and tricks, but they were all good already. So yeah, thank you, Ari. Then we have 2 more, and then we have the Q&A. So bear with us for the ones we've seen the reel already. Again, I think it's interesting to see even others people's resume, because it just, again, gives idea and about the structure or about what you could add or something like that. So it's always interesting, in my opinion. Yeah, so Salma, so again, thank you for sharing with us. I feel like the intro was really, really good. Like that one really stand out for me. So like I'm a multilingual content project manager, 6 years of experience. So like, again, reminding kind of like your background, but also I love working with cross-functional team to plan, produce, so what you like, the background that you have. I think it was really good. Also mentioning what you're passionate about. I think it's, yeah, like I feel like when I read this, I feel like I knew more. So I would add language like much, of course, Ari. So I feel like, yeah, I really like that intro. I feel like I knew a bit more about Salma, and I think it's a good thing when you read a resume. Then we have core skills, so it's a mix of like hard skills and soft skills. The thing maybe I'm not really, I don't want to say okay with, because I'm being dramatic right now. It's not that I'm not okay with it. It's just I feel like it's a bit, again, off. It's like the 2D, 3D VFX. So I guess that you mean that you worked in all the kind of like industries, field, that you worked on 2D, 3D VFX project. It's just not very clear. So maybe, I don't know how you could put it that way, but like projects or something like that, just so we understand that you don't mean that you can do 2D. You know what I mean, Salma? So yes, it's a small thing. Again, I'm being really picky here. I think you have 2 pages as well, so I'm just gonna make sure I'm not forgetting about page. Where are you? You're here. Yep, you have 2 pages. So what else did I put as notes? Language. Oh yeah, it's a small thing. Again, I'm being very picky here. I feel like there's a lot of space, and that's really a structure thing. That's not about what you put in. It's really about how the resume looks like. So it's really like picky. I don't know if you can see my, should I just keep it production management and digital? You could. I know what you mean. Like you mean that you worked on both 2D, 3D VFX, but I feel like the fact that you're mentioning that in your experience after, like we get that MPC is like 3D VFX, we get that, like you were saying on the latest. Oh, I just want to go back to the first page. You were saying that, where can I see 2D over here? Oh, well, I can't see it actually. You could had it like the 2D experiences you had. You could had it first. It's in your intro, so we have an idea of like with a background in 2D, 3D animation, VFX, marketing strategy. So we do know that. You could also, depending on the companies you worked for, if the Kidney Foundation was more about 2D, you could add them. You could add it in it, if that makes sense. Or Flair, you could add it in it. And like MPC, we know it's 3D, but you could, you're saying that it's actually, and it's actually maybe at MPC because you're saying VFX production, we can see it. So I think you could remove it from the skills. Maybe because you're saying it in the intro and then in the experiences. So yeah, you should be good to just move it, my opinion. And yeah, so small things. So it's really again about the look of the resume more than what's in it. It's like, I feel like there's a bit of, the space should be, so if we take your, I don't know if you can see when I'm showing, if we get like your experience, like OK George, for example, you should have more space between the experience before, like MPC, than between Montreal and the things you did. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Like there's a space, it's like a blank space, and I feel like you should just have less space between Montreal and the thing you did in experience than between the end and like, basically if we take like MPC, right, and I go at the end of MPC like metrics, you should have more space between metrics and OK George than Montreal and coordinated. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know. Yep, I get you. Great, perfect. Yeah, it's again, I'm being very, very picky here. I'm like the pickiest recruiter right now. That's nothing to do with like what's in it. It's just the structure. I'm like, ooh, that's weird. Sounds weird in my eye at least, but it's a really small thing. It doesn't change anything about your resume. It's just to be like picky since we do have time. But I think it was really clear. Like I really liked your resume. There's some numbers that we like. Yeah, if I don't say anything about, by the way, I'm saying that after 10 resumes, but if I don't say anything about the rest, it's because it's good, basically, because for me, there's nothing to, I just added some things like I saw, like I kind of like, I was like, ooh, that's maybe I should talk about it, but the rest of it is like good for everyone else as well, just so you know. All right, well, I think we're gonna have the last one, actually, which is Tom. So let me just open Tom's resume, and then we'll have a Q&A section, just so you know, about kind of like everything being like the recruitment process and this resume. And if you have also other questions I can help with, I'll be happy to reply. So Tom, thank you for sharing. Tom did something that I think he was the first one to do that. Also, he had it when it was available, which is right now. I think it's interesting. Like if you're available right now or in September, it could be also something to add. It's a good way of adding it, like with the contact. That's good. Again, we like I think you have the same structure as someone else, if I'm not wrong. I like that structure. Like you have the like the same, I guess. Template. I mean, there's someone else, which is good because it's really clear. You have the email, like I was saying. You have an about me, and in the about me is also adding that they're also adding that they have a 2-year working holiday permit, which again is a good thing. We talked about this. Oh, sorry, Sama. Should I keep the freelance part? Okay, I'm just gonna go back to Sama real quick. Sorry, I just saw the question. Sorry, Tom. Gonna get back in a second. What do you mean? Like, should you? Do you mean should you delete freelance or should you like delete the experience, the freelance experience? Do you want just to remove the word freelance, or do you want to remove the experience itself? Time have they added to? Oh, okay. Okay, Tom. Yes, Alma, just let me know what you mean by I mean, if you mean like the experience itself, you should. Like I was saying, a freelance experience is good. You should keep it. Yeah. I feel like if this is what you mean. Should I delete the word freelance? No. Why you think it's gonna? Why do you think you should delete it? Just trying to understand. It's okay to for me, but I'm just trying to understand what are you maybe not afraid, but like what are you kind of afraid of by adding freelance? I mean, I would keep the word freelance. Maybe there's a reason like you're not comfortable with the word. I feel like it's totally okay. It's still an experience. It's like an internship or that kind of thing. If you want to just, I'm not sure if it's something irrelevant. No, it's not. It's not like I know that, for example, on my resume, just to give you an idea, and I could have shared my resume actually. I should share my resume, but actually you will see that there's no that I do have skills and I don't have the level on them. So you're gonna be like, oh, you're telling that this, but you're not doing it because yeah. So like I could share my resume, but on my resume you would see that I have actually had it even something about hybrid work, Salma. So yeah, you could be really precise. Like I had it like my job, the fact that I was part time and or full time, and the fact that I was hybrid or not. So my resume is really, you know what? I'm going to share my resume after Tom so you can have an idea because we've seen our resume and I'm going to share mine because, yeah, I should. Just to give you an idea of mine. But yeah, there's a lot of info on mine, and that's I think, in my opinion, again, I feel that's okay. And that's not irrelevant at all. Yeah, Salma. Julia, any tips in how we rate our software skills? Ooh. Software, I mean, the way I like it, I saw that multiple times and I think it was really interesting. It's like dot you can use, and like you have like 5 dots and you rate yourself from 1 to 5 dots, if that makes sense. I think that way of like, I should have an example for you. I'm sorry, I don't. But I think that way is good. Or some people I've also kind of like, oh, I don't have the term in English actually, but like a range, but it's like a color, like a tube of color, just going more, lower or higher depending on the the level. Does that make sense, Julia? I don't know. Just an emission of really freelance. Personally, I don't think these experiences are either relevant. Yeah, I agree with Lenny. Freelance is the same thing. It's just a type of contract, right? You're doing the same work at the end of the day. So, but if you want to mention it, you can. But I think there's no harm in that. Yeah. So Julia, let me know if that makes sense when I'm saying like the 2 examples. But if I can reach out to you and try and find like a visual to give you an idea of what I mean by that. Okay, let's go to Tom now, which is the last one. So we started Tom, so we're going back. Thank you for your patience. So yeah, so I was saying, so really good in terms of like the about me section. Yeah, same art skills, soft skills, really interesting to have both of that. Like I mentioned that earlier, but I think it's really good. Again, level, like always I'm saying. And we were talking again about project. Oh yeah, you worked on the same project. That makes sense, like you were saying. So yeah, it's interesting to have the project, even if it's a school project for sure. And like they did here, have the 3D professional experiences. Like I was saying, when we're talking about relevant experience, I'm just coming back to my notes. Sorry, I'm just going back to my notes. I don't remember where it was irrelevant, and I say we shouldn't use that. Yeah, Sonia, exactly. So Sonia, if you're still here, basically you could just add 3D professional experience, which is a good title in my opinion. Language, so as you were talking about the level, fluent, full professional, native, like you were saying, that's a good way of putting it. And the fact that Tom was volunteering. So I didn't have a lot of feedback on yours because I feel like we went through kind of like all the things I was saying depending on the other ones. I think it's really clear, it's well organized. It's basically you want it also to be really kind of like clear for the eye, if that makes sense. Like there's, like that's the, I guess that's the thing that's difficult, is just to find the right amount of like infos. But if you feel like there's too much, just and that's not the case for you, Tom. But I mean, if you think like it's too much, just try a way of saying it in another way of like, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying. But here I think it's pretty, yeah, like kind of like Leah, like we're saying, like it's pretty good. It's just the thing I was saying is just a bit low in infos. Oh yeah, I did had a bit love of infos. What did I say that? Maybe for the soft skills part. Maybe I was like, maybe that sounds like big chunk of like infos. Maybe you could reduce a bit like the soft skills part, even if it's actually interesting, but I'm ruining it again. This required learning this tool, solving technical challenges arose from it. For example, okay, that's a good example. For example, again, my opinion, if we take problem solving and adaptability to successfully complete the final theme, it was necessary to adopt a new team working method involving a more complex. That may be a lot of like wording. Could just be like, we decided to use the USD pipeline based. Maybe you don't need to, put the wording before it. That makes sense. Like sometimes you just want to, if you don't want it to have too much info, you want to go through right away. You want to go with like the main info, if that makes sense. Tom, I think that was the only thing. Same for like team management. As part of my studies, particularly around my end of the year, working with a team of 6 people sharing the same objective, you could just reduce that. Like for my end of the year project, I had to work with 6 people. Like, you could reduce that. So yeah, it's a lot about that. But that's it. Beside that, again, I think it's really good, and all of them were really good. So yeah, thank you all for sharing. We went through it. Thank you for for staying with me here. I guess we'll still, I mean, if you still have time, I realize it's actually already 8 p.m. If you still have some questions, I'm happy to stay around. And we started late, so sorry about that. But if you have some question, I'm happy to reply. And you have some time, I'm happy to stay around and reply. Also, feel free. I'm just gonna put again I would like to put my LinkedIn again so you can have it. If you want to add me, I'll be happy to add you to my network. So if you have any other question, you can ask me. I think that's the one. Yep, that's me with Paddington. I have a website with all my info, demo in front of page, detail, product, resume, contact. Do you think it's a good thing, or do you think it requires many clicks for the recruiters? That's a good question. I mean, when I do have a website, I go through usually all the aspects of it. If you want to do it that way, it's just, I feel like it's not even about recruiters. It's just when you apply on a website, you will have a very structured way of applying that everyone is using, where you put your CV, that kind of thing. But if you do, and I didn't mention that, and for the 16 person who's still with us, it's maybe important to mention that also sometimes you want to, when you see a role, when you see when you want to apply to a role, sometimes you can reach out over email to the recruiters. You could have on the website like the recruiter's email, or you could see on LinkedIn, sometimes you can see who is hiring. Like for example, right now I am looking for a Viz Dev artist for a team, and you can see on my LinkedIn looking for someone to do that, so you can see it's me. So basically you can just add me, and the website could be useful in that way. The website could be useful in, like, if you reach out directly to someone, you could just send your website in, like, you have all the infos, CV, demo reels on the website. So I think it could be useful in that sense, because sometimes it's also when you want to, or I don't know, if someone wants to refer you somewhere, they will have all the infos in websites, so it could still be good, I feel like. So yeah, I hope that helps. Yeah, so I think you should, yeah, keep it. Of course, Sonia, I'm curious about how is it to post your work on LinkedIn. Oh, me, I'm really into LinkedIn. Like I go, I mean, and recruiters usually they really go, that's one of our tools. Like we're using LinkedIn every day. So I feel like it's really good to do that. Like to post your work, it's good. Also to ask to people to share your work, or like, you know, like there's a lot about network, and especially in this industry, it's a super small industry. And right now, when, you know, it's a weird time and we don't have a lot of role, being referred, being, like, you know, known is really important. And I feel like having a community on LinkedIn could help you do that. Sure, Tom, no worries about French. I'll try and translate it. So I would say, does it increase the chance of getting contacted directly by a recruiter? It could, Sonia, because if we have, I know that I'm always really upset. Again, I'm being really dramatic, but I'm always upset when I see someone looking for work and I can't have access to their reel, because I'm like, I'm going to reach out and ask, but I feel like every time, if you're looking for it, you should have your demo reel on your profile. You should have the password. I know some people are kind of secretive about their work, but if you're looking for work, you should give us access to your work, because we don't know, you know, what you're doing if we don't have access to your reel, right? So yeah, I feel like it could make a difference, definitely. Also, I always suggest to people, if you do it wisely and if you do it, you know, correctly, to reach out to recruiters directly. That could definitely stand out. When we, you know, you could apply on the website, but then if you send an email to the recruiter's email, or if you reach out to a recruiter directly, and that happens to me a lot, and I'm okay with that, as long as it's, of course, polite, and that you're not pinging me 15 times a day, obviously. But I do receive a lot of time, hello, Margot, I applied on a website, I just wanted to say hi over LinkedIn and connect. I'm always happy to do that, and that stands out, you know, like I'm like, oh, this person is really interesting in, like, yeah, she really wants me to review, you know, and also just, you know, connecting on LinkedIn is always a good thing. Yeah, it's a good, I mean, I don't even know how to say alternance in English. You know what, I'm going to try and just have the idea. So basically, and I know that, I'm not even sure it's actually a thing in Canada. It's a good question. So basically in France, there's a system where you could, I think you could do that also in Canada, but I'm not sure. Anyway, you could be part-time while you're studying. You could be part-time working for a company. Usually what we say, and that's just data, right, Tom? It's not what everybody thinks, but usually what we say is that you have to count that your internship / alternance time would be cut by half in terms of experience. So let me be precise. Let's say if you did 2 years of alternance, that would count as 1 year of personal experience. Again, that's just data. That's just something that, you know, we say to recruiter, because it can't really sometimes count as a full experience. So we just cut into, yeah. But I think in what you were saying, see, but it is professional experience. It's just if you rank professional experience, it's less than a real. I mean, real is not even a good word. I'm annoyed by me right now. What I mean is, like, let's say if you had like a contract, then it would be more important than l'alternance. But l'alternance is better than an internship, so it's always a rank. So, yeah. I feel like it is a personal experience. It's just sometimes it doesn't count as the entire time of it. That makes sense. Of course, Sonia. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here. Yeah, it's very good to know that we can reach out to recruiters. Yeah, I always say that. Again, if you do it properly, and I always like say, because usually people are reaching out and saying, like, sorry to annoy you. I'm like, you're not annoying me. I'm okay, as long as, again, you're not writing to me every day, you're good, you know. So yeah, just, and actually when you will see, when you connect with someone on LinkedIn, you can add a little message. So I suggest you just add a message being like, hi, like I was saying, I applied on a website. I just wanted to connect with you. And if you have any question, please let me know. For me, it's a good thing to do. But yeah, I feel like you can do it. Also, sometimes you have on the website, you could have a generic like emails to contact recruiters. For example, usually it's like recruiters at thecompany.com. Like for Framestore, it's recruiters Montreal at framestore.com, and we will all receive your email basically. So in that email, you'll be like, hi, I applied over your website. I just wanted to say hi and just tell you again how motivated I am. Like, you know, it could be a good thing. Very good question, Tom. My experience in graphic design is from my that count as pro. Yeah, it can as well. I feel like it's a professional experience. I mean, you are in a, you know, in a studio / company, so you do have, for example, we had an internship recently, and they have the same day-to-day that a junior artist, right? It's just that it's important to mention it's an internship because they don't have the same. They are way more supported by the team that a junior artist will be, even if your junior artist is already supported. It's just the type of support you have, right? If you are like studying at the same time, or but again, what I'm saying is like even wrong, because sometimes you will have a small companies that they won't be able to give you the support you need. Sometimes it's super small and like you're the only artist, you know, something like that. You know, that can happen as well. So yeah, I feel like I'm just saying this cut, you know, in half because that's kind of like the usual rule we say in recruitment, but that's again, we're human, so it's more of a case by case situation, but it does count as professional experience. Sorry. I was wondering if software logos are effective to show skins of the random. Oh, I mean, I do know that on the real, some people do that, and also on resume. I would say that I'm not an artist. I can recognize some of them. I don't recognize all of them. So logos are good with artists because usually they know them, but for recruiters, sometimes we don't know them. So I feel like you should always mention the name because of that, because it's more the fact that we don't know all of them. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, on usually on the real, that's why people do Lani, like they will you know, have on the first kind of like, you know, the first kind of like a shot on the reel, they will had just the logos. But yeah, sometimes I'm like, what is that? And I don't know. Would it be better for a recruiter to contact them through the Amazon profile if would like to get some feedback, for example? So what do you mean, Leah? You mean would it be better for a recruiter to contact them? So would it be better for me to contact people, like to contact you, for example, if I want to have more details of your work on LinkedIn or email? That what you mean? Or do you mean would it be better for you to reach out to a recruiter over either email or LinkedIn? I just don't get who's reaching out to who. New questions. I just want to make sure. Of course, Annie. Thank you. For us to contact you. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a good question. I would say over LinkedIn is better because we receive tons of email every day. Either people who are applying, either, you know, emails from somewhere else. So I feel like we receive less LinkedIn message than emails. So I would say LinkedIn. Yeah. But again, if I'm on vacation, if you reach out on LinkedIn, then maybe you won't have news from me for weeks. So sometimes you also want to try the generic emails, because when you have a recruiter email on the website, usually it's more than one recruiter. It's like the whole team you're going to reach out to. So that could be interesting. Yeah. I guess if you get the chance to talk about it in interview, it's fine, but it's a shame that I might prevent you from taking your job. Okay, thank you so much. Of course, Leah. Oh, I was wondering if software reviews are effective. I guess that was the only question. Do you have any other questions for me? Just gonna wait another minute, but then I'm gonna leave you have some food. It's late already and it's a Tuesday, so I also want you to enjoy life. But yeah, so feel free to add me over LinkedIn if you have other questions, you think about something. Oh, oh yeah, my resume, true. Yeah, I wanted to go through it, right? I wanted to not show it, and you're right, Leah, I should. Let me just open it real quick. Where is it? I need to find it first. You're gonna see all the things that are not working on my resume, which is gonna be fun because now you get to judge, and you have the right to. CV, yeah, that's the one. I have it in English, I think. All right, let me just put that up. Sorry, it's charging. All right. All right, so I should be able to do this. No, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and I should be able to share it. Let me just. Where am I? Yep, that's me. Yep, I'm up. You can see. So obviously my job is different, right? I'm a recruiter, so I don't have any more real. I don't have. I have some skills and that kind of thing because we are also using like things, but so yeah, as you can see, same. That's actually, and yeah, I realize now that I'm seeing my resume, I'm like, me too. I have some things that are not working. Like for example, there's not a title on my resume. I should have a title, so I'm gonna add that right after. Behind my name, I should have recruiter as my title. So yeah, so I have my name. I have like, as you can see, the fact that I'm PR, my LinkedIn, my email, a little thing about me. What was I saying when I'm on my desk from your Zumba class anyway. So as you can see, like I was saying, I've been saying like hybrid and like sometimes I didn't say part-time, full-time, but I know that my past one I did that. So yeah, just to explain about freelance. As you can see, some numbers, sometimes it's just like 80 recruitments. I worked with 3 different studios, a couple of like, I could add more. If you want my opinion. The fact that I did some events, so that's kind of like the part of what I did. And then if you want maybe to see my skills, think about skills. And you will see that I actually don't have levels on my skill set, which I should have because I've been telling you for the last 2 hours to do it, so I should do it. But as you can see, I charge supervision of 18 consultants. Like again, a couple of like numbers over there. But yeah, I should definitely have on that skill set for the tool I've been using, like the level. But yeah, pretty similar to you, actually, to all of you. It's pretty similar to the resume we've seen. Yeah, hope that helps. Okay, Tom, I get it. So yeah, I'm gonna add notes on my resume now to improve. But yeah, that's me. So yeah, feel free. I'm just gonna put it back my my LinkedIn if you wanna just add me if ever you missed that. Yeah, I think we're over 23 minutes now, so I'm gonna leave you so you can actually live your life. But again, if you have any question, please feel free to reach out to me. You also have my email over there, which is like Margot Ingrassia at Framestore. But again, feel free to add me. Of course, Leah. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I hope that helped. I hope that gave you an idea of like what we do, like a better insight of like when we receive a resume, what we think in our heads, and that it was helpful for you in terms of feedback. Cool. Well, I'm happy it really helps. Yeah, thank you for being here. Enjoy and have a lovely evening, and I hope we can connect and talk later over LinkedIn later on. I truly wish you the best if you're looking for a role. I can see that some of you are looking for a role, so I truly wish you the best. I hope you get to see that. If ever you want to, if you're sharing on LinkedIn that you're looking for work, I'll be happy to share that on my LinkedIn with my network. So feel free to let me know. Of course, thank you, Aries, Alma, Tom, Katarina, Leah, everyone. Thank you for sharing again. It's really helpful for everyone. So thank you for that. And yeah, I'll stop now. But yeah, hope I get to talk to you. Thank you, Brenda. I hope I can talk to you in the future. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Oh yeah, there's a thank you actually. There's a thank you thing. So thank you for joining. Of course, Brenda. It's really my pleasure. Thank you for being here, for taking the time on a Tuesday night. That's really nice. All right. Well, I'm stopping here, but yeah. Bye everyone. See you soon.